Hi! Ready or Not is over. We have beaten Ready or Not, and we're going to today kind of just go over the maps and give some thoughts on them. So on and so forth. So yeah. Who's one and who's two? I forgot. Are you doing one or two? Am I doing one?
You are cutting out on me sometimes.
Oh. I don't know why. My mic should be good. So who's gonna be one and who's gonna be two? Oh, he's. Hello. Oh, you back?
I'm here.
Okay. For a certain amount of time you're here.
As long as it'll last.
Okay. Okay, so who's gonna read one? Who's gonna read two? We're gonna go through every single map. We're going to, we're gonna talk about them. They're divided by one and two, doing every other. Do you want one or two?
One is heads, two is tails. Hey Siri.
Which one are you picking though? Are you picking heads or tails? gotta pick one.
No, I am flipping a coin for just me. If Siri lands on heads, it's one, and I will do one. If Siri lands on tails, it's two. I will do two.
Okay.
Siri, flip a coin. Okay, I'll do two.
Okay, he's two. Oh, you got some rough ones. Okay. Alright, so I guess our first. Let me change the background to a green screen so we can show footage. But alright. First map. Thank you, come again at the For You gas station. So the description of this map is seizing a moment of opportunity, a posse of delinquent young adults execute their plan in order to support a crippling addiction. So my thoughts on this map is this was kind of the first map to really come out. Like, I think it's the first one I ever played. I think it's the one that got us all to buy the game, like our group of friends. It's kind of just like that map. And it really hasn't changed from the beginning. It's only really ever changed in the sense of like you can't pick your game mode anymore. It's more storyline and more streamlined and whatever.
I think the map itself changed a little bit, but overall it's basically been the same. I think I remember there being a laundromat nearby that we could also go into.
I remember that too. Yeah, like that little side garage.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
But there was like another store with a laundromat. I think maybe that was.
I think I remember a garage with like a van in it, and there was like always a gunman in there.
Yeah, no, that's still there.
Is it? I don't remember clearing that when we played it.
Well, I think there usually just isn't anyone in there for us to get rid of.
I think the one thing that majorly surprised me was that there was a child in there. Because like we didn't have children on any maps up until us recording this series. So when I saw a child, I kind of like lost my mind for a second. I was like, "There's a child and it's cooler. Why is there a child in here?"
I don't remember that.
I do. I don't know if you ever saw them. You would have only seen them through my helmet camera because and it was like a super dark area.
Remember that this was like always our go-to map, especially if we wanted to just relax. Like when we tried other maps and they were really hard and we kept losing, we just go back to this.
Yeah, I definitely remember doing that a lot. Like this was our fall. This was our fallback. We can't lose map, and that's how we treated it a lot. Okay, let's see. Are we ready for map 2?
Sure.
Hey, go ahead.
All right, map 2 was called 23 megabytes a second. It was in the San Uriel condominiums. And the description is Michael Williams has killed his mother and taken his younger brother hostage. LSPD has been tasked with responding. Move quickly. I don't remember there being a dead woman there.
Well, he would have killed his mother at her house, and then we would have just been trying to retrieve his brother, I think.
Well, yeah, like assuming that the mother and the two brothers all live together in the same condominium, and that maybe we just missed the dead mother or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't
really remember there being like a brother there. I remember there
I
was.
don't either.
Okay, so there's definitely one dude that I assume is the younger brother that I would be able to pick out as like that's probably him. But as far as the older brother that's like going crazy and killing people, I would not be able to pick him out of all of the other guys that we fought and shot at and all that.
Yeah. The weird thing is, I remember when on the patch notes for the update when that map first came out, I watched the video on stream with Porkchop. And it showed the gamer guy in his little gaming setup, and then like some illegal hacking
Yeah.
things behind him, and then like an e-girl girlfriend type thing.
No, I definitely don't remember.
That's
an
what I
e-girl girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what I remember from the trailer. Holy crap, did it change from the trailer to the actual game? Like it went from like crypto scams to friggin' matricide. Like I don't know how they
Yeah,
got there. That's
for
what they
sure.
did.
This was a later map because I definitely don't remember this in the like beginning maps or even
It should have
some of
been
the
the
ones
second
made
one.
after.
I did them in order, so they should be the second one actually.
Well, no, I mean based off of release of the game itself.
Oh
not-
yes, yeah, no,
not
yeah,
what we
you're correct.
played.
You are very much correct. I think it came out like a month or two ago. If I remember right.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just remember it being a lot of people that we had to fight through to get through like 3 floors of apartments.
Yeah,
And
for real.
no one really stood out aside from who I am assuming is the younger brother. Aside from that, I don't remember anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, like the main thing I remember on that map is that we spent like 5 minutes just shooting up all of his stuff. And that was it.
That's true. There was a lot of gamer stuff there, so I do
There
remember
was.
all of that stuff.
Yeah, there definitely was.
And I'm assuming that was the younger brothers at least.
I would think, although I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. That was one of the maps where it's like I was expecting a new scenario, and it really wasn't all that different from what Ready or Not is up until this point. So,
Yeah, it felt like a generic Ready or Not map for sure. The
really
only
did.
thing that I really saw that was like new per se, but not like map specific, was just the fact that one of the bad guys took someone hostage. Aside from that, like the map
Yes.
itself didn't really feel super new or unique
Yep.
per se.
Yep, that's about it. Yeah, it really wasn't all that crazy new. It was just a new map. I'm really interested in these stories that they're adding though, and like you don't really. It doesn't seem like they like playing the actual map. It doesn't seem like I would ever know what the debriefing was while I'm playing. Like you can't really
Yeah.
put 2 and 2 together on most of these maps.
Yeah, I'd say like I'm a little bit of spoiler, but all but the last map that we played, I feel like you could play the map and not really notice anything special. It's just a map that you kill, like shoot people through, and that's about it. Which is how we basically played all the maps. Like you can kind of get an idea of what's going on, but it doesn't really
Some are bad.
feel like a huge part of the game itself. Like it didn't feel story heavy, I guess.
Yeah. Which is honestly what I always expected of this game. So when they started to take like a theme, it felt weird to me. Because I expected it to just be random
Well-
SWAT scenarios. But like as we go on, you'll see like a theme starts to emerge and I don't like it.
Yeah, I could definitely see some themes popping up, like just a way to make the different missions a little bit unique from each other, so it didn't feel like you were
Yeah.
playing the same thing every time. But like story wise, you didn't really notice, I guess, unless you like went out of your way to make it a part of it. You could easily, like what we did basically, you could just play the missions being some crazy SWAT guy that didn't actually care what was going on and just shooting up whoever you felt like.
Yeah, you really
And
could.
whatever you felt like.
Yeah. Also, in like getting all the descriptions typed out for this too, I also realized that there's actually like reoccurring groups and stuff that we just never noticed. So
Yeah,
we'll get to see
after-
those too.
Yeah, after we had like basically finished all of the missions, you started mentioning that there were like actual story behind each one and talking about like specific people.
Yeah.
And I had no idea the entire time until you started bringing that up. I'm like, oh, I had no idea there was like actual story behind these.
Yep. But you really don't start to notice, like, the spider, which was the fourth map, is kind of where it starts, and then like themes start to emerge and groups start to reappear, and it's going to be very, very. I don't like the direction it goes. Anyways, I think you ready for the next one?
Spider?
It's,
Well, the only one that you could kind of notice was the rich dude's mansion with his daughter's 18th birthday. You can like kind of see a story behind that one, but again, the game doesn't really make it a part of the gameplay, like the story
kind of
itself.
does in descriptions. Like, it's actually kind of cool. You'll see.
Yeah,
You'll see as
there's
we go.
But in a lot of games, it forces like a cutscene where you have a voiceover reading off the information to you, and
That's
they
true,
make
yeah.
you pay attention. But in this, you can hop in without reading a thing and just be completely oblivious to the story.
Yeah. Which, honestly, with the way they go about this, I'm actually kind of glad they didn't do that. It's probably a good thing that they didn't do cutscenes and voiceovers.
I'm glad they didn't, because that is a different type of game, and I like how this is, where I can just go in and start just playing the game without worrying about like having a campaign
can maintain
to actually
innocence.
go through. Yeah, I guess there's that too.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it gets dark.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
so
right, let's go to
next
the
map,
one.
the Twisted Nerve. The map is 213 Park Homes. The detectives have been following a new lead to locate a key source of methamphetamine storage in Los Sueños, tracing a potential affordable housing development in 213 Park. So this one, it was kind of just, I don't know, it felt like this is the same thing. We know what we're doing. The laundromat was closed, which threw us off guard a little bit. And also the drugs weren't hard to find, because before it was like, oh, you have to look in the box in the fridge and get that one little Ziploc. This time it was like, oh, the entire room is a meth lab. Just mark the room. And it was so much easier.
Yeah, I like that it was easier, because I always had a hard time looking for those things.
Oh, yeah.
And it added so much extra game time that was not entertaining at all. So
For real, yes.
switching over to just being the whole room, just like, hey, here's a lot of drugs all over the place. Just mark the whole thing. Be like, hey, this room is full of drugs, guys. Definitely like remember this room. And it's like, oh, okay, super easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this map was the first like night map where you could actually like use like night vision stuff.
In a sense,
if I
yeah.
remember right.
Like I still think they should add the ability to cut power to a residence, which they still haven't done.
That would be cool.
Maybe it'd just be too complicated. I don't know. But
No, I don't think it'd be complicated. It just kind of depends on the time of day
that's true.
for the map.
Yeah.
Now, what would be interesting is if they added day-night cycles to maps.
That would be interesting. Yeah. Like the sun could start to come up, so you have to hurry. That would be an interesting thing to do.
Or the sun would be setting, and if you don't have flashlights or night vision,
And you're kind
you're
of
not gonna be able
bound.
to see anything.
That would be like
Yeah,
the Rust
would
Belt.
be
That would be
interesting.
perfect at the Rust Belt. Like,
Rust
because
belts.
yeah, the one with the underground tunnels. It's like, oh, if you didn't bring a flashlight, like, because the cartel definitely has some form of night vision, right? They don't really need lights.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this was the first map where I was like, I'm seeing some changes from when we first played it to now, and I approve of them so far. This didn't stand for the entire time, but so far I approve. Like, it changed definitely.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see. We ready for the next one?
sure.
Okay.
Next one is the spider. Um, I guess the location is called Brixley Talent Time. From what I understand, it's supposed to be like a daycare,
I think it's like a
or like
child talent
that's the
agency.
front. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it could be that too. So the description is seized data center assets point to the owner of operating in one of the poorest neighborhoods, the Row. SWAT have been deployed to serve a search warrant on the Brixley Talent Time to assist the investigations into an illicit photography ring. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically a child talent agency that was actually using children as
Yeah.
for
Which I
which
remember. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, just real quick, it didn't completely give off that sort of feeling in the map, which is kind of a good thing because some of these maps they go heavy into that stuff, but I feel
Yes.
like it wasn't like super heavy into this. You can guess that that was what was going on, but it wasn't like in your face obvious, which was actually kind of nice for this map.
Yeah, it was like you could tell something creepy was going on, and the parents like, "Oh, we're just here for this." It's like, no, you're weird. But like they left clues if you actually searched around, like that recording on that camera that I played for like 3 seconds when we did this map, and I was
Yeah.
like, nope, and I turned it off. They left clues around to where if you really, really, really looked, you would actually get what is actually going on, but they didn't outright show or spell it out, which I kind of appreciated. I wish they would have
Mhm.
kept doing that for the rest of the game, because this is kind of where this little story of online transferring of explicit material starts to really take root, and you go from that to like random other groups, but it's heavily into like explicit material and trafficking, like human trafficking. And this is the first mission where it technically starts if you go by descriptions. You don't really notice it until a few maps later, but this is
Mhm.
technically it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, it seems like another random like scenario that was made up for the game, and
Yeah.
then they start adding a lot more maps where they really start pushing that kind of stuff, and you're like, okay, it's not so random anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
They ugh. It seemed like the beginning of a controversial topic that you kind of wished they would have just tapped on once and left alone. But I understand why they didn't too, because they're trying to make a game where they're simulating real life horrible things that you actually, that like actual SWAT and police deal with. I just don't know how
yeah.
much of that needs to be transferred into a video game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, considering we went through like 18 maps,
Yeah.
and there that wasn't even with the DLC. There was more with the DLC that just
Yes.
came out.
Yep.
But and I like that there's a lot of maps that you can play on and a lot of different scenarios, but you can only make up so many different scenarios before you start
That's
having to
true.
go back into other stuff. So if they want to make that many, they gotta unfortunately go back to the like few stuff and the
Yeah.
even if there are children involved, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like what cops deal with, you can really narrow it down to like 5 categories. But I don't know. I don't like that it started to become a trend because it was kind of like just hammering home a topic that's like, I get it, I know, I get it, I know. Like, I don't want to keep seeing it,
Yeah,
which you
for
know,
sure.
yeah, we'll discuss more later when it becomes more apparent in a little storyline or whatever.
It would be nice if maybe they did some missions because there's a couple of missions where it seems like some actual professional groups, like some mercenaries, start popping up. But I don't
Yeah.
think they ever really go into that. which is something that would have been cool to get into, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe if they add more lethal weapons, like, for example, I don't remember them ever having frag grenades. It was always flashbangs, gas grenades, or these like rubber ball type grenades.
Yeah.
But if they started adding stuff like that, for like these heavy missions where you're actually fighting like a mercenary group or something like that, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of going back to these like inappropriate places with these just thugs basically terrorizing civilians into doing stuff that they shouldn't be, kind of stuff. Going away from that, like, though, this mission always was extremely difficult for me. I died a ton on this mission, and this is the hotel missions, I think, were the first ones that were really hard that we came across, but we were able to beat after playing a couple of times. But this one was, even after playing it multiple times and getting it down, it's still difficult. If, like, even when you're being careful and everything, like, there'll be one guy that just pops you in the head and takes you down, and
Yeah.
you just gotta be extremely careful, and even then it's still super tough. So this was
Yeah, I
this was
think
a
in
hard
the
mission.
whole series, I think when I died and the map was completed, it only happened like once or twice for me. I don't know. I'm super paranoid and I hard scope every corner. So
Yeah, no, somehow, I mean, you were better at this game than I was. I don't think I was that like careless all the time, but
sometimes they're just on a
sometimes-
hard corner and you don't see it coming. Like it happens.
Yeah, there's that, and like the last mission, for example. Oh, I'd be watching you, and you would get hit so many times, and you still wouldn't go
For
down.
real.
But I would like
I don't
turn the
know
corner.
why.
Dude's not even got his gun up, and I would get headshot and die instantly. I'm like,
Yeah.
the game has it out for me, I swear.
There were a couple times where it's like, I'm like, how am I not dead? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
okay, let's see. Ready to move on to the next map?
Yep.
Okay. A lethal obsession at the map Sullivan Slope. A former USIA analyst has a warrant for their arrest over the suspected murder of 5 police officers in Maqueda County, Greater Los Sueños. This is the bomb squad map. It was fun.
Yes, it was.
It was fun and funny. I feel like for how big the compound is and how much you have to clear and all the tripwires you have to watch out for, there should have been more than 3 enemies, like 3 suspects.
Yeah, I feel like there should have been at
Like-
least like 6 guys. I like
Yeah.
that there wasn't a ton of guys, and you had to worry more about like traps. Because
True.
this is like the only one that I really felt like was focused on the traps instead of the guys, the
Yeah.
enemies. But there definitely could have been more guys. Like, not a lot more, like 6, but
Just something. Like,
more than 3 for sure.
yeah, it was a very quick map in the most part. We just didn't really realize that until later. Like after we completed, we're like, oh, there's nothing here. Cause like they have that whole junkyard off to the side, and I thought we'd have to clear that and there'd be like a little shed out there or something. But no, it's just 3 dudes chilling. That's it.
Yeah,
So that's the whole
definitely
map.
focus on the compound, which was basically 3 floors, but not even like that a
Yeah.
ton of rooms.
Although it did introduce something new, which was those stupid little barbed wire slots that the guys could run
That's
through.
true.
That was a new element that they added to the game that was actually really cool.
Yeah, that was the first time they brought that in, huh?
Yeah, that was the first map to do it, and it was very interesting. But
Which I don't remember them being able to go through those, which we found out after we played it and recorded it. And you're like, yeah, dude, they've been doing this like the whole time. I'm like, no, they haven't. I swear they haven't.
I remember it from when the map first came out and we played it with Captain Fluffy. And like, I remember I saw it once, I was like, I'm done with this map. Like, I'm sorry, they can run between rooms and I have to watch out for freaking tripwire. No, I don't want to do this. And I was done. Like, So we only did like 2 missions on it, but I remember I saw a guy do it once way back then, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Like it was hard enough, especially because I feel like it got harder to disarm the tripwires because I had such a hard
Yeah.
time doing that on this map, and I did not remember it being that difficult before. And
Yeah,
I
no, you're right.
blew
Yeah.
myself up, and you at least once, if not like twice. And I was like, I what? Because I was trying to find the indicator that says to disarm it, and I got a little closer because I swear I wasn't that close. And the door clicked open, and boom, dead.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely took away. There was a lot more leeway with tripwires before.
Yeah,
Like you couldn't like yeah, before I remember it's like you peek the door and you could take like 2 steps in and get that door like a third of the way open before you had to disarm it. And now it's like peeking, that's all you get. Like if you try to get any closer, you blow up. Which was very different from when the game first came out.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was a big pain.
And then found out that they can run in between the walls. It's like,
There's too much going on.
I knew I wasn't as bad as because they keep adding tricks.
Yeah. I forgot we had to record that one again. Wasn't that the first one where it's like for some reason the audio or something on your end got like corrupted?
Yeah, my audio.
Yeah, so there's a few of these that's like I have one memory and then you start saying something, I'm like, why do I feel like we played it another time? And then I remember,
No,
oh yeah.
this one. Yeah, so I remember what happened. So we played this like 3 different times. The first one, my audio was, or I think the audio wasn't working. The second time, I found out that my recording quality was too high and the recording couldn't keep up. Or
Yeah.
the video quality somewhere was too high and the recording couldn't keep up, so it looked really bad. So I brought the video quality down and had to re-record it a third time, and that's when it worked.
Yeah.
So you have like a different video of like the second time doing it, and I have a video of the third time going through it, I think.
Because yeah, I was like, why do I remember shooting the guy in the ghillie suit outside, but I also remember arresting him in the basement.
Yeah.
It's like, I have multiple memories right now. Like I don't know why.
Yeah,
I have all these
that was the
memories.
other. Yeah, that was like the first time anyone was ever in the basement too. And I was like, don't worry
Yeah.
about the basement. No one's ever in there. And
Yeah.
then he was actually in the basement.
Why is my dog growling at me so much? Okay, let's see. We ready for the next map?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Let's see, Ides of March, right?
Ides, IDs, whatever.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm gonna call it Ides of March, but
Okay.
it might be something else. It's in the Brisa Cove, and the description is a group calling themselves the Left Behind are taking matters into their own hands by attempting to kill a politician responsible for a budget cut proposal to the already under-supported VAMC in Los Sueños. So VAMC, I'm assuming, is the VA for the Marine Corps.
I would assume, yeah. Like they were definitely veterans.
Yeah, no. So the gist of it is some veterans that have a bunch of problems. Like a lot of these guys that we fought had prosthetic legs, and they had like military uniforms or portions of it. Like a lot of them had like military boots and pants, like camouflage pants, and yeah, like the whole point was they were trying to snipe somebody, and one of the things that we had to find in this hotel was a sniper rifle, and they had a bunch of stuff put up, like they camped out or whatever that was called. they camped out in one of the rooms for a while to plan what they were going to do, how they were going to assassinate the politicians, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was interesting. This was definitely, I think, one of the first maps where the guys that we were fighting were a lot harder to take down.
That's
Because
true.
they actually had like body armor, where the other ones were just some thugs with like pistols or Tech 9s or stuff
Yeah.
like that, and no body armor. And these guys had actual, like, guess you could say, military grade weapons like M4s, stuff like that, and body armor, Kevlar helmets, that kind of stuff. So it was, well, definitely interesting.
Yeah. It was like, this was, I think, the first case of them actually introducing a group into the lore of the game, the Left Behind, which I don't remember if they were there at the beginning of the game, like when the game was first coming out, but they're in it now. But yeah, it's like the Left Behind is now a faction within this game, which is kind of cool. It was the first time they introduced something like that, to my knowledge. I could
Does
be
it pop
completely
up in
wrong.
other missions?
Yeah, yes, they do.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
they
not
do.
realized.
So yeah, it was kind of cool that they introduced something like that. I just remember, like you were saying, this one, it was just like, it seemed like it was harder and I couldn't tell why. And the construction area of the hotel would drive me nuts. All those wooden doors that they just shoot you through would just drive me nuts.
So that was a different mission that I don't remember us actually playing during our recording,
No, it was that one.
which is
I don't know if it was on the map that we played, but I remember it was the hotel.
no, yeah, and I'm not saying the hotel. It was definitely the same hotel, but the mission we played didn't have that area.
It didn't? I thought it did.
No, it didn't.
Oh,
No.
wow. Okay, well, the
That's-
hotel before.
I was waiting. That was one of the missions that I was waiting to play before the update happened. Like,
Yeah.
it was definitely there before the update, and then because that was something that happened either before or while we were going through these missions, was a big update. I think before we started, like right before we started recording all these missions, was
Yeah.
a big update, and a lot of the maps changed, and this was one of them. I don't know if it's because didn't you say that we couldn't like choose the type of mission?
I've wondered that because you can choose where you spawn in. And I wonder if changing that will change mission objectives. But I don't think it does. That it doesn't make sense to me. But if someone said that's how you choose your mission type, I would just have to agree with them. Like, I don't know. I don't think there's a way to.
If we really wanted to figure this out, we would have to go back and just
Yeah.
try out a couple of things. But I don't care too much at this point, since we already went through all those missions. But
Yeah,
there
I'm kind of
was-
ready for our next series, personally.
Yeah, same. There was, like we were saying, another area in this hotel that was a different like mission that you could play that had, like Icarus said, like a whole area under construction that we had to go through, which was kind of a pain, honestly. But we did not play that. So it was just
Yeah.
one floor where we just went around in a big circle with this big area in the middle. That had civilians and some of the Left Behind guys in.
Yeah, like it
This
was
was-
pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I think this was the first map that introduced the tripwires too.
Oh yeah, back in the day, I think you're right. I think it was.
Because they did have tripwires before the Lethal Obsession? Yeah, the Lethal Obsession map.
Yeah, before that even
But
came out.
The Lethal
Yeah.
Obsession was like heavily focused on the tripwires, where this one
real.
just had them to surprise you and trip you up and stuff.
Yeah.
And it definitely tripped us up the first couple of times we played this map.
Oh, it was
because
a pain. Yeah.
it was brand new. We didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, if I remember right, it's like back when you could choose your scenario. I think like
Yeah.
this was the first barricaded suspect where they had those tripwires. Like, yeah. So yeah, Like it,
And
it used to be a proper society. Now look at it.
I just remember that I always was blowing them up because I like to just rush in sometimes, and they would actually like stop, use the telescope or whatever that thing's called, the mirror gun.
Yeah, mirror gun.
That's
Yep,
what it's
yep.
actually called. And he would check for the traps, but I like to just kick the door down and go in, and I blow myself up a couple times.
Oh, dude, Pork Chop died to them so much because he just used that freaking door ram and just he blow
The
up
ram is a lot of fun though.
like 1 out of every 3 doors he'd hit when we play, he'd die. Like it was so funny. I loved it.
Was.
Okay, let's see. We ready for the next map?
Yep, we're ready.
Okay. Sinuous Trial at the MindJot Data Center. A data storage facility run by MindJot scrubbed IPs from content found in the residence of a now convicted pedophile, led to the distribution source of explicit child pornography. I actually, when I was doing this, because I typed in the Google Doc at MindJot, because that's what it is in the description of the game. I typed them exactly as I wrote them. It's an actual yoga, physical therapy, relaxation place in real life. Like there's an actual place called MindJot. And yes, when I typed it, it started pulling up on the Google Doc, like a Google Maps picture of the building. And I was just like, oh, okay. But anyways,
That is unfortunate.
yeah, that weird note aside, this one was continuing the Spider, the child talent agency's weird theme.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't stop after this. Like let's see. So out of the remaining maps,
There's at least 3.
yeah, it just keeps.
But I had no idea. So with the MindJot, I had no idea what data they were. I remember they were trying to delete data. I had no idea it was child pornography. So
Yeah,
I didn't
it was
realize these
dark.
were all related like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it starts to line up, and I don't like the way it lines up. Yeah, I mean, this one, once again, they were wearing armor. They actually had good guns. It was difficult. It was a challenge. That stupid server room, that's like a maze. I remember we got lost in for a second. But I would say overall, though, it was kind of just...
I'd say it was a good map.
It was. I think I was just annoyed by the fact that every single door was locked. But since it's a data center, it makes sense that every single door was locked. I got so tired of picking locks. So, I mean, it's kind of like...
That one didn't have any tripwires, so you definitely could have just rammed every door.
Yeah, if we would have thought to bring one, but like, it kind of...
Well, I don't know if it had that kind of information in the...
Doesn't.
whatever that's called.
The briefing or...
Briefing, thank you.
Yep.
If it had that kind of information, absolutely. But since that was our first time playing that map, it's no wonder we had no idea.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to remember the game. The locked doors started to annoy me. I think it's Hogwarts Legacy. It's like Hogwarts Legacy, there's like a locked chest behind a locked door, which is behind a puzzle door. And by the time I get to the chest, I'm pissed. And that's exactly how I felt by the time we finished this map. Like I was pissed by the end. I was just like, stop locking it. Like, I was so annoyed. Were
actually heavy enough that you had to kick it like 3 times to get through.
Yeah, and then my leg got shot, and then I had to lockpick like the last 5-6 doors, and I was just ticked off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It definitely is starting to follow the story, but man, I got so sick and tired. Like, why couldn't we get a key card off a guy and scan our way through every door like something else? I was so sick and tired of it by the end there.
Yeah, that's for sure. It would have been nice to have a key card or something.
Yeah, like some alternative to picking locks and kicking doors.
Yeah.
Would have been nice.
Only other thing, just talking about the enemies themselves. These guys, and I guess you could say the Left Behind, are the closest thing to what I was talking about earlier, of fighting like a mercenary group, like professional wise.
Yeah.
But even these guys still like not quite what I was thinking of. like almost like an army per se,
Yeah.
having to fight something like that. But still, these guys are technically professional. They're like a security group that are protecting this place. So it's definitely close to that. So
Yeah. Yeah, they at least were uniform, so it was easy to tell them apart.
yeah, that was nice. It's nice when you can actually tell who the enemy is, because
Yeah.
some of these they're thugs, so they wear the same thing as the civilians. And you're like, are you gonna pull out a gun and shoot at me, or are you gonna get on the ground?
Yeah.
Well, great. Now my arm hurts.
Yeah. It definitely did end up being a lot of just shoot. Like, I think from like this point on in the series, we really just adopted a shoot first, ask later to almost
Yeah.
every mission.
That's the thing about doing a series like this, where we just want to get through like 18 missions we had to go through. And we wanted to just get it done because at this point we are having trouble with the game itself, with our audio and video.
Yes.
And we're like, all right, we just want to move on to something else at this point. So we kind of just, started shooting
Yeah.
everything.
Like, I have a lot of thoughts on that. I just kind of want to save it for the end, though, because it's like, if we start talking about what we dislike that they changed about the game from release to now and what caused us problems, we'll be on this one for a while.
Yeah,
so that's kind of
fair.
that's a closing thought.
For sure. Let's get through the maps specifically.
Yeah. Okay. Next map.
Yep. Our next map is called Ends of the Earth on Hawaii Beach.
Sure. I have no idea.
That.
Yeah, you're good. I have no idea.
Description: LSPD have been tipped off that a coastal home is harboring a family responsible for the modification of weaponry, making semi-automatic weapons able to be switched to fully automatic. They also sell weapons here. You don't say.
Right.
This was a cool map because in the attic, they had this whole 3D printing setup, which unfortunately Icarus was not able to actually see.
Oh yeah, it cut out. So sad.
I hit the button and like acknowledged something was there, and then it cut out before he got in the room. But
Yep.
they just had a bunch of 3D printers. They had 3D resin printers, and they were making weapon modifications because in the US, civilians generally are only able to buy semi-automatic weapons. Like the AR-15 is like a civilian version of the military M4, and it can only shoot like semi-automatic. It can't shoot burst or full auto like the M4 can.
Oh my. We're starting that conversation.
Nope, that's as far as I'm going with it. I'm just explaining where this is coming from.
Okay.
Like why modifying in your own home with 3D printers matters. Because these people nowadays can make their own weapon parts, and modify their weapons to be fully automatic now.
Yeah.
So the problem with that is, I mean, I don't know how illegal it is to modify your own weapons to be fully automatic, but selling that type of modification, I'm sure, is very illegal. So that's why this is a problem.
Yeah, giggle switches are illegal. That should say the ATF and not the LSPD in the description. They should definitely change that, because I don't think local police departments care as much about this as the ATF does.
Yeah, ATF definitely would care more.
But I mean, I don't know. Like this one, it was kind of like it felt weird. Like, and what I mean by that is, like, I understand the environment, it's supposed to be a family home and all that. It didn't feel like that. It felt like a frat boy house or something else. It didn't feel like a family home. And I think a little inclusion of they also sell weapons. No, duh. Like, it's just like, really?
But one of the rooms definitely had like a bunch of stuff in there that old people would need, like respirators and that kind of stuff, like medical equipment. So stuff. There was stuff like that in there that definitely made it feel like it was a family's house with like 3 generations in it or something.
Yeah, well, because like most of the rooms were like frat boy rec rooms with like weights and punching dummies and stuff, and it was like
They did
okay.
have that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just wanted to go to the carnival that we saw in the backyard. That's all I wanted.
I was disappointed that they let the backyard get so dirty. Like they had trash bags upon trash bags in like the pool. Like you have a whole pool out there and you're using it to store your trash bags instead of throwing them in the dumpster or taking them to the landfill or something.
Very sloppy.
That's disappointing.
You have a whole ocean to dump in.
Was definitely like a grandpa there. I don't remember if there was a grandma.
Oh, I think I do remember that. Yeah, he had a pistol.
He was outside that we arrested.
I also think this is the first time we saw broken AI, because I had a moment where I was at the bottom of the stairs, and since I was too close to the wall, my character had his gun pointed straight up. And there was a guy at the top of the stairs aiming a rifle at me, and he didn't shoot at all. He was just yelling. And then I shot him, and I walk up the stairs, and there's another guy behind him just pointing the rifle at me. And so I shot him too. Like, it was the first time I think I ever, like, I don't know, maybe they programmed him that way, and maybe I should have tried to take him alive, but I didn't. I shot immediately. And I think that was like the first time I was like, wow, AI broken, huh? And like I felt like some AI were just glitched out was on this map.
Yeah, I've noticed that a few times, but there's also times when AI, like, you can't see them at all and they'll shoot you through stuff and instantly kills you. Like there was a map that we haven't talked about yet that happened multiple times. That pisses me off. Yeah, I can't even, like, it's definitely something you can shoot through, but like I can't see them through like a solid fence. So how are they seeing me, and how are they like shooting me with one shot right into my head? Like, how are they being that accurate? So
yeah, definitely.
There's both in this game, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, ready for next map?
Yep.
Okay. Greased palms at the Los Sueños Postal Service. Suspected of importing weaponry for the gang, Los Locos LSPD detectives visited the premises. A shootout followed, with one suspect being shot and the LSPD detective in critical condition. SWAT have been called in to respond. This one, I've always enjoyed this one. It's always been a huge firefight.
This is one of my favorites, even though I suck at it.
It's always been a firefight. It's always kind of been that trial by fire for whoever wants to play this game with us.
That's true.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed it. And also, this is when they first introduced the Los Locos into the lore of the game. So it's their first appearance.
Most of the factions that they have now, apparently, I don't notice, but this one definitely you can tell is a different group from the other maps.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's just straightforward. Like, shooting at a postal office, go take care of it. It's just a big
shootout in a warehouse with a lot of packages around.
Yeah.
It's a hard one, and honestly, like, in my opinion, but I also die all the time.
Can be.
But Icarus can usually solo it himself.
Well,
and then I'm just sitting there watching the whole time, like, why do I keep dying to this stupid map, even though it is one of my favorites?
Yeah. I also remember this map when we did it, I was complaining. I was like, why do they all look the same? And it's like, oh, because they're a gang. Like, they're supposed to look the same. Oh, yeah. But yeah, there's really not much to say about this map. It's this is probably one of the very last straightforward maps before it gets a little weirder going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, well, I mean, they're straightforward, but like, there's stuff to it that just makes it weird.
Yeah, some of these other ones feel like there's some more underlying stuff.
Yeah, I just saw what the next map is. Are we ready for this? Next map?
Yeah, we can talk about it quick. We don't have to stay on it for very long.
Yeah.
So the next one is called Valley of the Dolls at the Vol Health House. Health House?
Yeah, that's what they
Yeah,
call it.
okay, sure.
Yep.
Description. Having taken down a distribution center for an illegal child pornography ring operating out of Louis. Man, I have a hard time saying that for some reason. The LSPD cybercrime team has now located the man profiting from its sales. LSPD SWAT have been sent to his home with a warrant service. So the distribution center should be that data center, right?
It's like the data center linked with the talent agency and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, the point of this one is this rich dude who started up this child pornography ring basically finally gets caught, and we go in to arrest him.
And it's so much
And
worse.
it's on the day of his daughter's 18th birthday.
So I don't know whose birthday it is.
No, it was his daughter's.
Okay, so I actually.
Why would they have a birthday for somebody that's not his daughter's at his house? Well, never mind. He is a. There's no logic around this guy, so I take it back.
I actually went on this one on my own with AI and had them basically clear the whole house so I could actually try and put some context together. The daughter hates her stepmom. Her stepmom, he's been stalking like a freak since she was a child. He has this weird shrine in the basement to her. He has dozens of photos of her not dozens, hundreds of photos of her as a child in the basement. And you can find movie posters around the home of 2 adult films that he's filmed with this girl. I think her name's Daniela. And
is this girl the Romanian girl that's usually at the front entrance?
With the blonde hair, yeah, I think it is.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I honestly don't know what actually is like, I don't know, like the context and just the amount of stuff. This was one of their most controversial maps when it came out, and I agree with it being controversial. Yeah, there's so much, there's imagery, there's just so much adult stuff all over this house that I ended up just completely cutting it from my channel. I was done with it. I didn't want to do it. Like, I didn't want to edit it because I didn't want to have to blur that much.
Yeah, I went ahead and did it for the challenge of blurring stuff because that's the map that I taught myself how to blur stuff, and it was hell. Blurring, there was so much to blur. It took me so long to get through that map, especially because we had to do it twice because we failed the first time. We both died the first time, so I had to do it a second time. So I had to blur everything all over again. It took forever. So yeah, it is understandable that you just cut it out.
Yeah, I just got rid of it.
By the time you said you were doing that, I had already gone and blurred everything, so I wasn't. I put all that effort into it already. I wasn't gonna cut it at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, overall the map is disturbing. It gives me a sick feeling in my stomach. Like I said, I don't know whose 18th birthday it was, based on all the context that they had laying around, which was very heavy-handed context. The friends of, I think, the daughter who were there for the party, who were saying they weren't letting us leave and stuff, like they were trying to escape the house, but security was keeping them there. Like,
that's part of why I assumed it was the daughter, because she had her friends there. She had but all the kids. Because there's a lot of kids that are around 18, I assumed were her friends.
I'm hoping, we're going to say they were all 18. For our own mental sake, we're going to say they're all 18. At least. Yeah. Like said, 22 for like a happiness, but we're gonna at least say 18. Because I don't think they actually are. Anyways, that map is just, I can see why it was one of their most controversial when it came out. Because they were heavy-handed on everything in it.
The reason why I'm okay with all of these maps, though, is because you are SWAT going in and stopping these bad things from happening. If it was anything else, it would probably be really bad.
Yeah, there's no glorification whatsoever.
Yeah, no. The point is, you're SWAT, you're going into these horrible conditions, and you're trying to prevent something really bad from happening or continuing. Yeah. So
that's why
I think it's okay that these maps and these stories exist, because this is stuff in real life.
Yeah, like this is stuff that they deal with.
This stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's continuing that human trafficking, explicit material storyline that was started way back at the talent agency, and I personally don't like it. It makes my stomach turn, but I get why it's in the game. I think it does have a place in the game. I just don't like it personally. It personally just drives me up a wall. I hate it. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Anyways, so we get on to the next map and not dwell on this.
Let's get on to something that's totally better, but not actually.
Their second most controversial map to come out. Elephant at Watt Community College. My dog is growling his head off right now. An active shooting has been reported in the community college. Time is critical. Move fast. I love this description because that's basically what an active shooting situation is. They have no intel. They don't know what's going on. They have to go in, figure it out on the fly, and try and do their best, which is how it is for real cops. And so I love that they did that. They didn't give any information. They just said, get your butts in there.
Yeah, that's definitely something that'll happen every now and then.
Yeah. One of the reasons that this map was considered very controversial, that I kind of personally disagree with, is they said that this was obviously a design of a middle school, elementary school, or high school map, and then after backlash, they changed it to a community college, which could be true. But I don't think a lot of people have seen a lot of community college campuses, because when we were going around the map, I was picturing community colleges near us. Like it's the size of small campuses near us. Not every community college and every university have giant campuses with like 12 buildings. Some of them are small, single building campuses. That happens.
And even the size of the building itself wasn't massive like some places are.
Yeah, like the fact that they got 3 stories out of it, I was shocked. like how many middle schools and high schools have 3 stories like that? Like maybe in big cities that's how they are, but like where I'm from, I've seen, because I used to travel to high schools for competitions in high school and stuff, I've seen dozens of high schools and I've never seen them near that size. I think it was always a community college, personally. I could be wrong. Maybe when it first released, they said it was a high school. But if you were to say it was a community college from the start, I would believe you 100%.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was that controversy, like people saying that it was supposed to be anything but a community college. And when we were going through it, I had no thought of like, are we sure this is a community college? Because this doesn't quite know. It felt like a community college to me.
Yeah, well, and some people will point out like, well, all those weird colors and stuff in the library, it's like, have you not been to a community college? Like, yeah, they kind of look childish with a bunch of random colors. That's kind of, yeah. I know normal libraries that look like that, not just a community college. Like, I don't know.
Depends on where you are at.
Yeah.
And depends on where the community college is supposed to be based in.
Yeah. And also, the reason why I think it's called Elephant is because when it came out, I think it's kind of like the elephant in the room is that, like, yeah, it's controversial because it's a school shooting. And it's like, yeah, you know, that's terrible. You know, obviously it's crippling. But at this point and for the rest of the game, you just see so much more stuff that you're kind of like, how do I... It almost feels normal, and I don't know how to say that in a good way.
It feels like a mission in this game that you deal with a lot of controversial situations.
Yeah, like you deal with so much
really
crap.
It doesn't stand out.
Yeah, it's almost like the gas station one. Like it just feels like, okay, here we go. You know, back to the basics, I guess. It's the word I'm looking for.
Almost, yeah.
Like, you know, there's a couple bombs and a bunch of crazy people. However, and I have it as a side note in the Google Doc, there is something about the AI that neither of us knew and neither of us noticed, and rewatching the video, because I was editing it today as the day of recording this, we completely straight up missed. So also with the AI in this, they focused really hard on making them seem like absolute insane teenagers, like high. Like they are zonked out of their minds. They're on like, I don't know, like some methamphetamine, something. Like they are not doing well, obviously. And so the way they program the AI in this one is to actually actively hunt down the players. and be much more aggressive. Also, at certain points, and if they hear you coming, they will execute NPCs near them, like execution style. And we didn't know any of that. And there were a few NPCs that we arrested, but we got to them so fast and shot the bad guys so fast, the active shooters, that we actually didn't see or notice any of that until the very last one. But since he downed Billy, we didn't see him execute the NPC, and we were sitting there at the end screen like, what civilian did we miss? And I was like, did you shoot a civilian? And you're like, no, I didn't shoot a civilian. And when I rewatch the footage, it's the very last room, the very last guy. There's a dead professor at his feet that we didn't see get executed.
Oh, yeah, I had no idea about any of that.
Yeah, so they actually did all that work into this map, which I thought was really cool, but we cleared it in like 8 minutes. We didn't notice any of this happening.
The point of that, the reason why we did that so fast is because, from what I remember, this is the first time they introduced bombs.
Yes.
And they set a timer.
Yes.
So we had like, I think 11 minutes to hunt down 2 bombs and disarm them, or else they would have gone off and we would have failed.
Yep.
So that's why we went through the whole maps that quick, because we were on a timer.
Yeah, we had no time. We had to hurry.
So that putting those 2 notes together almost makes it unfortunate that they put all that effort into these guys. Just to add the timers with the bombs to kind of cancel it out. It's like you have to rush through it so you don't notice that the AI start hunting you or that they start executing anyone, because you don't have time to wait for them to do that. So that's kind of unfortunate that they added those 2 together.
That is true. Yeah. Also, like, it made me wonder, like, how did these guys build these bombs? And I remember we talked about it while we were doing it. Like, this makes no sense. But these, like, just absolutely crazy people are making these sophisticated bombs.
Yeah. Because they were students, right? So they're just college kids.
They don't specify, but I would assume so. But they don't actually say.
Well, since they're able to make bombs, and just remembering what the AI actually looked like, their models, I would kind of assume that they weren't just students and they were like a terrorist group or something.
Because they had gas masks and everything. They were ready.
Well, yeah, they had like body armor and like almost like a vet outfit on, like the Left Behind group.
Yeah,
kind of. If I'm remembering this right, I have a terrible memory, so I could be wrong, but that's what I remember. So it could have been like something more like a terrorist group, which would make way more sense with the bombs.
Yeah,
because I don't see a college student going out of his way to make a bomb, because normally, unfortunately, in real life, school shootings, they just shoot people.
Yeah, they're very mentally disturbed.
Don't make bombs. Those are bomb threats, but from what I understand, there aren't ever actual bombs involved. So having all of that, I would assume
and there's only
like
like 4 of them
instead of students.
Yeah, there's only 4.
There weren't a lot.
Anyways, let's move on to the next one. So those are the 2 most controversial maps for very, very different reasons. And some people are very disturbed by one, some people are very disturbed by the other. I personally got disturbed by Valley of the Dolls. Elephant didn't even faze me, to be honest. Oh.
To each their own.
Yeah, everyone has their own demons to face, so.
Yep. All right, next map is called the Rust Belt. It's in Costa Vino Border Reserve. The description is the task force operation connecting BDRTAC, no idea, attack.
Yeah, something.
Probably something like that. FISA, FISA, something like that. Also don't know what that is. And SWAT, connecting those 3 groups to stop the exfiltration of key Los Locos targets fleeing across an ancient underground tunnel to Tijuana. So this is the Los Locos group again, from the like USPS or whatever mail warehouse place. Same group as that. Huge tunnel network. You start out. By this point, you don't have watched the video, but just to refresh your memory a little bit, you start out going to essentially a small ranch and clearing out like 3 different buildings, kind of smallish. And in like the main building, there's a tunnel that was dug out in like the floorboards of the building itself. And it goes into this massive tunnel network that took forever to clear out. And to be honest, I'm surprised neither of us died in it, especially myself.
Yeah.
It took forever, and there was a lot of guys to take out.
It was.
It was a fun map, actually.
They did a very good job of making it feel like an immense cartel network. But I think my favorite thing is that like you arrested the 2 civilians on the surface. So that way going through the tunnels, it was like if it moves, shoot. Like I liked that they got the civilians done and over with very quickly. And then it was just descending into a firefight.
Well, I don't know if it'll be that way every time. Maybe they'll switch up the characters and have a civilian in the tunnel.
Yeah.
But if that is the case, that they're all out, that would actually be kind of nice that you can just take.
I mean, that was
out.
our experience, so I enjoyed that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it was.
I don't know if that was intentional. Yeah, it was very good. It was just a good map. I remember when I got to the underground lake with the barge, I thought I had stepped into Sons of the Forest. Like it was so
Which I did not
crazy. It was so crazy.
I was sad. I didn't get to see that one. I'll just have to watch your video and see what you saw.
I mean, this is another one where it's like it's very straightforward, and I appreciated it being very straightforward, especially after the 2 before it. And yeah, I mean, there really wasn't much to it. It was just show up, get the job done. There wasn't a huge underlying issue or anything. It was just smuggling and I mean, it was the second appearance of the Lost Locos, so that was kind of cool to see that they popped up again.
Yeah, for sure. Like, pretty cool to see groups being tied together across different missions.
Yeah, very cool.
So if you wanted to like make your own series of like, we're gonna hunt down the Los Locos across a bunch of different missions or a bunch of different
have like a narrative to it,
locations, something like that.
Yeah,
it's available now.
Yeah, I mean, with mods, I'm sure you can make everyone on every mission look the same.
That's
I really wanted
also
to.
True.
Yeah, I do love that. I love that they've created something where you can do something like that. Because I mean, I've seen since we started doing this series, and I watch my own videos to make sure that they're uploading in 1080, HD, all that. Like I see a lot of other people's videos on it now, and there are some guys who have like added these narratives and these stories with custom missions and stuff. And it's like I love it when games allow the community to build off it and create something. Because this game, I didn't play with my highest graphic settings available. My computer couldn't handle it. But like it can get insanely realistic looking, and it makes really cool footage.
Playing the game and recording at the same time.
Yeah. If we want to be really specific, there it is. But my computer ate that garbage.
It probably would have been okay.
Yeah. Okay, we're here for the next map?
Yes.
So, I'm just going to read it. Sins of the Father, Clemente Hotel. The Left Behind have struck a nearby hotel housing the family of Senator Fremont. They are demanding that Fremont admits to his actions, lest he wishes for the blood of his family to be on his hands. This map, every time I see it and I see pictures of it, it reminds me of a Chicago mission on the GameCube game Time Splitters 2. And like it just seems like old school mobster going through this map, like with the lighting and like the decor and the rugs and how people are talking and acting. Like I think it's like the Secret Service are the Left Behind in disguise. Because it's the Left Behind again, so it's the veteran guys, and I think they're all disguised as Secret Service.
That makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, like they're continuing their demands that people take care of veterans. Which is one of those
It was
situations
just
where it's
a-
like you feel for them, but also they're committing crimes and you got to get your job done. Like, so
Yeah,
like,
is this the same politician though?
I don't believe it is. I mean, they could have been trying to snipe him from the other one, but I don't think it says Senator Fremont.
It could be like a different
It doesn't.
like, day. But it would be interesting if this was the same politician. They're like,
It
all right,
would
our
be.
first plan failed because of this flaw, so we're gonna make another attempt and just
Take
like,
over his.
take over his
penthouse.
hotel, his penthouse. That would
Yeah.
be.
You there?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, okay, your mic cut out. I was like, did he just disconnect?
nope. I'm still here. I think
Okay, good.
I think the commands that I put in command prompt have worked so far.
Well, that's good.
My,
Yeah, so reading this
my
one.
computer keeps losing internet connection for some reason, so I
Yeah.
had to try taking care of it, and hopefully it's been working so far.
Oh, good. But yeah, so like since it has like that weird old mobster feel, I feel like I should like be trying to do like some weird Godfather voice when reading it. Like the
It
sins
definitely has
of the
that feel, but
fallen. Like,
this was a very
Something
visually
stupid.
appealing map.
it was actually pleasant on the eyes. Like not in like anything else besides just the lighting. Like my eyes didn't hurt by the end of it. Like some of them, it's like it's so
that
dark
too.
or so bright it hurts my eyes. This one, it was just like adequately lit. I guess is what I'm going for.
True, but like what I'm thinking of was just the fact that most of the maps on in this game are rundown places with
Yes.
just crap everywhere, and it looks
Yeah.
dingy and dirty, broken down, all of that. This was a very clean, high-end, really visually appealing place,
Yeah.
which was really nice to see.
Yeah, I
It's
agree
even
with
like
that.
the hotel map that we were at
Oh,
just
it's
had crap
trashed.
everywhere.
Yeah, they trashed.
Trashed. They messed the place up, but this place looked so much nicer.
Yep. Other than that, I really don't have much to say about it. Like, yeah, they were fake Secret Service. I think they were playing like America the Beautiful in that one room where his kids were by that fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
Really not much to say about it.
That's-
Like, it was
that
pretty
is-
straightforward.
That is something I just thought of, was the fact that it is, and for me at least, a little hard to tell who's who, because sometimes you can be
That's
like, all right,
true.
that's definitely like the senator, but there was a point where we had talked in the map or in that recording, and we're like, this is the mother, like, no, this is the mother. Okay,
Yeah,
I honestly can't really
you're
tell
right.
the like which is which, so it's not a big deal. Like, you just go in, you take care of the bad guys, you rescue the hostages. It doesn't really matter who's who. But at the same time, it would be kind of nice if maybe, I don't know if it is in the briefing or not, but if they like specified who was who, like have a picture and the name and like the connection, like,
That would
oh,
be
this
interesting, yeah.
picture of the mother, this is the name of the mother, and this, like, she is the mother in the scenario, something like that.
Yeah.
Just to like help with this, adding the story to the mission, like we were talking about earlier.
I do also think, isn't it like one of the first ones where the bad guys are actually trying to like trick you? They're like, FBI, freeze, or like, drop your gun or something.
No,
We're like,
they're saying
what?
that they were Secret Service. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but like they were trying to trick us into not shooting them, or they'd be like, "Don't shoot,"
Yeah.
and it was like, "What?" And then like they shoot at you, and you're like, "Oh shoot, run!"
Yeah, that is true.
Oh.
Usually they just shout obscenities at us.
Yeah, normally they just swear at us.
Like, I'm gonna kill you, you stupid cop, or whatever.
We're so verbally abused by the end of this game.
And physically, like,
Yes.
sometimes we get shot.
Okay, let's see. Should we go on to the next map? I just realized how long we've been recording. This is a very long cap. Recap.
It is, yes.
Okay, yeah, let's go on to the next map.
All right. Next map is Neon Tomb at the Neon Nightclub. So the U.S. airstrikes have targeted Village's house What?
No idea.
I'm gonna say targeted villages housing a notorious terrorist group in northern Yemen, which has ties to U.S. cells. One such cell is known as the Hand, who have enacted a domestic response to the military incursion. Didn't realize that this was related to terrorists. Like you
Yep.
can kind of get that from the mission, but like actually
To have it written.
putting like names to it makes it a little different.
Yep, we
But
get
yeah, basically this mission is terrorists attack a nightclub, and you can see even like right at the beginning bodies everywhere.
yes.
And this is the first map where they have suicide vests.
I forgot about that. Yeah, they do. Man, we're lucky we did this in one run. Like,
Yeah, true. Because I remember us playing this before, and we kept dying to those. And the thing is, there is a terrorist with the suicide vest that will run at you, but there is also at least one civilian, I think two civilians with suicide vests on them. And if I remember right, if you try to save them without killing the terrorist who has the, I'm assuming, a cell phone, they can probably blow you up as you're trying to save that civilian, or not save them, but like arrest them if you get too close to
I
them.
didn't know that. Dang.
I don't either, because we always killed the terrorists before we
Yeah,
dealt
that's
with the
true.
civilians. But I'm assuming if you tried like to the civilian before you kill the terrorist, they probably would have blown you up along with the civilian.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy that there's terrorists with suicide vests and civilians with suicide vests.
Yeah, this one just gives me a migraine, but I think it's cool that we're introduced to a third faction now called the Hand. Like, that's a really cool feature. But yeah, this one just gives me a headache. Like, I honestly just didn't like this one because of that.
Well, it's kind of funny because you found out
Yeah, I could
at
turn off the
the end
music.
of that recording that you could turn the music off
Yeah.
and the flashing lights.
But having the final civilian being that random lady who was just on the ground bleeding, that was
I don't remember.
that was very
that.
annoying. I was so mad.
I don't remember her being there before. I think that was added later.
I do too.
Yeah,
I hated
Icarus had to run around trying to find the final civilian. Turns out it was a girl that looked dead,
Yeah.
but wasn't. I thought you were supposed to help her do whatever,
Yeah.
fall in, whatever it was. So
Handcuff her. Like,
how long did you run around? Like 10 minutes? 5
something
minutes?
like that. And it was a minute.
It was a long time.
Anyways, are we ready for the next map?
Yeah, we sure are.
Yeah, okay. Buy cheap, buy twice. Caesar's Cars dealership. With the impetus, what? To now crack down on weapon trafficking within Los Sueños, LSPD has raided a suspected exchange point in North Hills, resulting in multiple downed officers. Exercise extreme caution. So yeah, it's a used car dealership. They're trading out weaponry, and apparently officers have already shown up and died, so we're going in to basically clean up now. This map was, I believe, in the base game when it first came out, and it was not nearly as big or crazy as it is now. But it was very, I mean, it's honestly just straightforward. Like, these guys aren't tied to any groups, according to the descriptions of the missions. They're just there, and they're just doing their thing. And so, straightforward. I got shot by Billy. Billy shot me in the leg in this one.
You know what? Considering how often we would shoot each other, me and Porkchop shooting you mostly, for me to only shoot you once and in the leg the entire series was really good on my part, I'm gonna say.
True, I guess. Yeah, I've never once accidentally shot someone in this game. I've shot people in this game, but it's never been on accident.
I'm gonna say, in my defense, you were in another area. I didn't know you had moved, and then you just show up behind a door I opened out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, another bad guy shoot you in the leg. Oh,
so
oops.
I actually saw this because I edited this before we recorded this video. I say, "Oh, you're behind that door. I'm coming," and I have my gun pointed at the ground, and you open the door and shoot me, and I'm like, "What?
Okay, but how
Why?"
quickly after you said that did I open the door and shoot you, though?
There's about, I would say, 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's not enough time for me to register you said something. My brain is... Audio takes longer for my brain to register than visual.
That's fair. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that it happened once this series that one of us got shot by the other.
I almost made it through the whole thing.
Yeah, we almost did it. But yeah,
Considering some of the missions though that we
Yeah.
went through, I'm honestly surprised I didn't shoot you more.
That's true. Yeah, we did some very CQB missions.
Some very fast paced and
Yeah,
sporadic missions per se.
yeah. Like,
Um,
there's really not much to say about this map. It was kind of cool. I got in a firefight with like 5 guys in one. One of them was trying to escape underneath the garage door, and I shot him in the foot till he died. Like, I don't know. It was fun. Like, but it's just a straightforward. You know, it's just another one.
I wouldn't be surprised if this did have connections to the last map, though, the last mission.
Oh, to the hand guys? The hand or to the hand or to the cartel guys. Yeah, that would actually, it makes sense, at least.
I would say probably more the cartel guys. Like, the last mission I think had like some Russian dudes or some in that area of the world. I think it was.
It's possible. It's very possible.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was connected to that or something. But real quick, so impetus.
Oh yeah, what is that?
I was curious about that. The definition that I found on Google says the force that makes something happen or happen more quickly. So with the impetus to now crack down on weapon trafficking, basically is like with like the desire to like get in there and do something about it, to go deal with this weapon trafficking.
Okay.
Like, all right, now we're ready to get in there and get this done, kind of thing, I guess.
Which would make sense if that happened right after a terrorist attack on the nightclub. That would make sense.
Yeah, that's true.
That they're now like, okay, we need to stop this now.
Previous mission.
Yeah, like I think you're right. It could be like weapons coming in for a group like the Hand or something for sure.
Yeah, a terrorist cell, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite map. Let's get to it. This is my favorite one out of the series.
So this was a brand new one. This, I'll read the information first. So it's called the Carriers of the Vine in the Cherriessa Farm. The description is: an officer lays dead in the path to Cherriessa Farm. Your team is to deploy and clear the strange compound. So this mission we think might have replaced another one, which was like a Spanish villa or something.
Yeah, had like cartel guys there or something.
Which is unfortunate because we never beat that map, and I really wanted to do that this time, especially since we decided we were gonna keep doing a map until we beat it. But unfortunately, it was not there anymore. And I don't know if it's possible to find it or not.
It might be. I don't know. But this is my favorite map. I love what they replaced it with. This is such a good, like, everything about it was just awesome. Like, you're literally going up to a cult compound and clearing it. It was so fun, and I was on edge the entire time. Like, I was scared, and I loved it. Like... I love
also, we had to redo this map like 3 times.
That's it.
We kept dying.
I thought it was like a 2-fer, but it could be 3. We did get to the point where we said to heck with it, and we got battering rams and shotguns and just went nuts.
Oh yeah, we cleared with shotguns. I think this was the one time. I don't remember. Did you die and I finished the map on this one?
The very last one we both finished it, because I remember I watched it getting the thumbnail.
Did I die in the second one then?
I think you died.
So I feel like there was on this map.
I mean, we both died in the first two.
I finished or almost finished it, and then maybe I died or something. or maybe I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at that, but
Yeah,
I
however
think
that
something like that happened.
happened. Yeah. But it was very cool. And yeah, like when we finally said the heck with it and pulled out shotguns, we decided no survivors. Like everyone's guilty and we just
Yeah,
executed everyone we
we
saw.
might have taken out a lot of quote unquote civilians, but they were part of the convent, is what I'm calling this.
Hey, that's definitely like a
So
witch's
I
convent.
I don't feel bad.
Is it convent? Convent? I don't know. Witches.
Convent.
Okay. Bunch of witches.
Yeah,
It's a bunch of witches.
It's essentially just a kind of like a cult for women only.
They started as witches and we made them holy by the end. Like that's basically what went down, okay? Like we were missionaries on a mission and we did our job.
Yes, it definitely went a lot better after we got the shotgun. So
yeah, like shotguns, we did. Yeah,
we took no
we
prisoners.
loaded up and we went nuts. But it was an interesting story though, because they had like a hierarchy and stuff that you see within the mission, and like there are obviously areas where like it kind of showed, in my opinion, anyways, like kind of like the psychological stuff that cults do. Like there's like the front of the house, which is all you would see for like your first month or so with the cult, where they're like, oh, this is where we grow the grapes and make our wine, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And then you see like the garden and the art studio and stuff, and kind of like the meeting room, which is like once you're kind of more into the cult, where I think they had pictures of like, I don't know, people they were planning on killing, or like serial killers that they were idolizing, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then once you're in the cult, they take you to that back area through the woods where they have like that tree that's carved into a statue of some deity. And so I thought it was really cool how it kind of like progressed as you went along, getting creepier and creepier, which I think was done better than a lot of horror games that I've played streaming. When I try out horror games on my live stream, I thought this did it better than a lot of those, honestly.
Yeah, the map itself visually was really cool and very unique, honestly, even for this game. The lighting was interesting, though. I don't know how I feel about it. It like when we were in the house and I was trying to peek outside, it
actually blinded you. Yeah.
And then even when you're outside, it was bright enough that it still was hard to see. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it did kind of add some difficulty, which I guess I would say is like I was okay with. Because normally you make it difficult by making the NPCs more difficult, but making the like interacting with the environment adding difficulty was actually a nice touch, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As somebody who spends a lot of time in rooms with blackout curtains, I can say walking out
definitely got blinded.
like walking outside after being like downstairs editing a video for 3 hours or so, and walking upstairs where the blinds are open leading outside. Yeah, there's a blinding factor that they definitely nailed in this game. They probably overdid it a little bit on how fast your eyes adjust, but I mean, how do you really program that into a video game? I think they just made a threshold and they're like, it's super bright back here, but once you cross the threshold, your eyes are adjusted. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It makes sense. Do that. But it was cool that they had that. And they also added like some drums in the very back area, which was
that gave such a good ambiance.
It definitely told a story with that, just with the audio, saying that this is like a more special area.
Yep, definitely.
And yeah, it added to the story without actually saying it, which was cool.
Which could also be how they wrote people deeper into the cult, because they'd hear the drums and be like, what are the drums for? And they're like, you can't find out till you hear tier 5 of Magic the Gathering or something, I don't know. You know, like, then we'll take you back there and show you what the drums are. Yeah, like something, but like, you know, I don't know, I felt like it had like an interesting underlying psychology behind cults and recruitments into cults, because when you walk up, you're like, oh, it's just a wine garden. Then you start seeing women running around in white dresses and masks and you're like, this is kind of weird. And
That's more creepy.
Then you find like one of the leaders in that room with all the pictures all over the walls surrounding her. And you're like, this is weird. And then you get to the back and you're like, oh, you're a cult. Oh, I get it now. Like,
Big,
like
bonfire looking thing in the totem or whatever it was.
Yeah.
In the middle of the complex definitely gave that away too.
Well, it gave like a witch feel to us, but I wonder if other people would look at it and be like, hippies. Like hippies with
That's
their
fair.
flower poles. But like we saw and we immediately recognized witchcraft. So that's interesting.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was very unique.
Yeah.
Like out of all of the
definitely
things they
feels
changed
like
in this game, that's my favorite by far.
Yeah, with this map and one of the other ones, I already forgot which one we were talking about, but a couple of these maps, it definitely feels like they started to try adding more backstory and like something unique to it, and just basically like branching out with their skills and learning to do new things and
Tell
make
new
it more
stories.
than just, hey, here's a briefing, this is the generic backstory, go take these guys out and maybe save some hostages, watch out for tripwires. So it's definitely cool that they were like putting way more effort into some of these missions and maps.
Yeah. Well, I do like how it's like the shorter the description or the shorter the briefing, the better the map is because they add more story in the map itself.
Yeah, they instead of relying on the briefing, they rely on the actual map to tell the story.
Yeah, very good storytelling on that map, in my opinion. It gave me the creeps, and I loved it.
Plus, when you do that, instead of getting the full story right at the beginning, you learn about it throughout the mission.
Yeah. Makes it worse.
That makes, well, it keeps you invested in the mission throughout the whole thing because you want to learn more. You're like, oh, I just found out that they wear the same outfit. So they also have these masks. Okay, what else is there? Oh, there's these two leaders that have all these pictures of people I don't know. What's up with that? And you just keep getting through the mission and getting through these different areas that like give you more information as you go.
Yeah, the progression
instead of
was
just
amazing.
Being a shooter, basically.
Yeah, when we started it, I was just like, oh, that's weird. But by the time at the end of the first attempt, when I was in the witch's sacrifice altar room, I was shaking. I was like, this is so freaky. Like, I was so happy though that I was so scared. Like, I love getting scared. I hate being scared. So yeah, it was very interesting. Okay, let's see. We ready for the next one?
Yes, we are.
Okay, second and last map. Here we go. Relapse, the Coastal Grove Medical Center. After the club incident, remnants of the Hand go to rescue the lone surviving leader, now placed under police supervision at the Coastal Grove Medical Center ICU. That added so much context. I always wondered about this map. It's the hospital. And yeah, like, to know that one dude that was in that red room who drew a gun on you, yeah, he was the leader of the Hand, or one of the leaders of the Hand in the US.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing this mission that we had to find this specific guy.
Yep.
But connecting him to the Hands, and he was supposed to be under police supervision, and the Hand went in to rescue him, and that's why so many people were killed and all of that going on. That explains a lot.
Yeah. Which, for me, it's more of a narrative now of like, how would you feel if you were a nurse or a technician or something working in a hospital and the SWAT team drags a dude in? They're like, okay, we're going to keep him here. And you're like, oh, what'd he do? Oh, he leads a terrorist cell. Not in my hospital, you don't.
Like, heard about that nightclub incident that happened the other day where
like
a lot
500
of people died?
People.
Yeah, he's responsible for that. So make sure you save him so that we can throw him in a jail.
Well, and it's like, and we didn't get all of his buddies. There's still more of them out there, but we're going to keep him here.
That is a story that happens in a lot of different movies.
Yeah, like, yeah, if I
So,
was like a friggin' X-ray tech, I'd be like, not in this hospital. No, go away,
well,
go,
that's
go,
the
go.
thing. Like I a lot of movies with this as the story of it. So many doctors are like, I swore that oath, so I'm
Yeah, the
gonna save
Hippocratic
them.
Oath.
Yeah, and they're like determined to do it no matter what, even though there'll be people that come in and be like, no, we're gonna. This guy is a horrible human being.
He's dead.
He should not be left alive. Even if like somebody has that weird idea of he needs to pay for what he's done by going and being thrown in a jail cell with a somewhat comfortable bed and 3 square meals a day and like
Yeah.
what? No, just well. Anyways, without me getting my personal thoughts into this too much, they're like, no, I absolutely won't let you do this to him. I'm gonna save him no matter what. And it's like,
Yeah.
bruh, this is a very bad guy. He does not care about you at all. Like, I don't care what your oath says. Like, come on. But yeah,
It does
this
bring up that question for sure.
yeah. So that is a good, kind of a good point. Once you add the story to it, like, what would you do in that situation if you were
Yep.
like a doctor being told to do that? So it is a way that makes you think if you
Well,
want.
like, they're not even telling him, like, hey, you have to treat him. They're just like, hey, so here's a terrorist leader. He's got some buddies. We're trying to find him. But until then, we're going to keep him here in your hospital. It's like,
Well, no, the only reason why he'd be in the hospital is if he got hurt. So if he's in the ICU, he's
yeah.
probably in surgery and they're trying to save him or something.
Which I feel like if they're going to connect the stories like that, which I think is cool that they do, but why didn't we arrest that guy at the nightclub to then have him be arrested again at the hospital? Like, why are we now just
Well, that's
hearing
what I'm
about
saying.
him?
Like, we probably arrested him at the nightclub. He got
Yeah.
seriously injured. And in order
Yeah.
to prosecute him, we need to prevent him from dying. So they had to take him to the hospital because if they didn't, he would have bled out and died or something. So
That's
he
true.
was probably arrested the entire time until the rest of the cell, the hand, went to the hospital and started killing people
Yeah.
to get him back.
Because, yeah, I don't think we took him alive. I think we dropped him. If I remember right.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, we dropped him. But
Yeah.
story-wise...
Yeah, story-wise, yeah. It lines up. I don't know. It's cool that they're actually trying to make stories with, like, reoccurring factions within the game. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. Story-wise, like, aside, though, this, I think, is one of the missions that have changed the most for a couple of different reasons. One, like, the actual hospital before the big update, like, they had the hospital that you actually went through the mission in.
Yeah.
After the update, they still had that area, but they had an entirely new area added to it, like
That's
a huge
true, yeah.
area, as well as the old one. They didn't replace it like they did in other missions. But on top of that, they also added bombs, like they did with the
Oh, yeah. They had, like, those giant webs.
college. Yeah, they added 2 bombs into this one as well. Thankfully, they gave you 30 minutes to get through that one.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of guys to get through.
There was.
And a lot of civilians to not shoot while you're getting shot at by the cell, the terrorists.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely needed 30 minutes. But yeah, they added a lot to this mission, which was also cool to see.
It was. Okay, let's see. Final map.
Yep, final mission.
Let's do it.
The one we had the hardest time with.
Yes, by far.
Let's see. It's called Hide and Seek. It was at Port Hoken. The description is joint strike operation between LSPD, FISA, and ATF. We're finally seeing the ATF on Los Sueños major shipping port. Federal and state authorities were tipped off on large shipments of weapons moving through the area, leading to a major crackdown to capture and detain any individuals involved. With a side note saying that this is also the mission that has the container of trafficking victims that the player is ordered to leave locked up, otherwise they'll compromise another agency's operation. also is the mission with the secret room for auctioning off traffic victims. After discovering the container, we decided not do that unlisted objective from that point forward. So yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot in this mission, and this is the mission that I think they probably did the best job adding the story to.
Yes,
The
and
convent one aside, like they did like atmosphere and ambience to add to that story, but like actually talking with the NPCs in this mission is what really progressed the story, in my opinion, because this is the first time that we like completed an objective and somebody came over the radio. Because usually with the radio, it's like right at the beginning, the guy's like, all right, go in there, deal with this. And then every now and then, like if we get a weapon or a bad guy, we're like, hey, this guy's down now. Hey, we got this weapon packed up. They're like, all right, good job, keep going. But in this one, they actually come over the radio and starts talking to us, and we actually have a conversation.
yeah. Honestly,
So
I hated it.
yeah.
Like,
Um,
so I think unless we were really terrible throughout the entire series up until this point, I believe this is the first time where they have objectives that aren't listed. Like they aren't required to beat the level, they aren't required to do this or that. And so it's kind of like unlisted objectives. Like so the port originally was like 2 warehouses and a few trailers in between that you would clear. And it was a lot of CQB, it was a lot of frustration.
mhm.
And I really liked it. I felt like it was kind of like the most be on your guard type map. What they turned it into, I personally hate. I don't mind searching shipping containers for guns and drugs, you know, that's why we're there. But it's also the first mission where there are victims of human trafficking who are actually just straight up naked. And I don't know, it bothered me a lot. And the fact that we can't rescue these people because another agency needs them to go to where they're going for their operation just rubbed me the wrong way immediately, which I think it was designed to do. But it makes me not want to do it. And the auction room in the back of that one warehouse, once again, just rubbed me the wrong way, which is what it's designed to do. But it was kind of just like Valley of the Dolls amplified. Like there was less suggestive stuff, but the stuff that was there was much darker.
No, it was like right in your
much
face,
darker than Valley of the Dolls.
yeah, it definitely felt like they were saying like, hey, we want you to know this is a thing that's going on, and this is basically what it looks like in real life. Here it is, right in your face. Check it out.
Yeah. But yeah, as soon as we realize it's not an objective to do that container and do that conversation, we skipped it from then on, because this took us like 6-7 tries. This was easily the hardest map for us.
At least like 7 tries, I think.
Yeah, like I'll have to actually count it when I edit that video, because I haven't done that one yet. But like, yeah, so it's definitely, I don't know, they changed what the port was, and I don't like what they changed it to personally. It kind of drives me nuts.
This is the same with the other missions that they like completely changed or like cut areas out. I wish that I don't know if it's an option to still play those missions or not, but I hope it is, because like you said, like the way it was before was great. I enjoyed that one too. Good map. It was a harder one. It definitely, we failed it more than we succeeded, but I still really enjoyed it, and I really hope that we can still go back to that one, because it was a lot shorter, I think.
It was and it wasn't, because you were much more careful, because like the second warehouse you clear, the first one was like 2 stories, the second one was like 6 or 7, and you were very, very careful. True. And there was still dark stuff in it. There was still like a auction site at the top of the warehouse that you had to take out. But it wasn't nearly as dark as the one in the new one.
Yeah, maybe it was just the map was smaller. Like area-wise, like not story-wise, but just like the second one, you had to walk a lot to get around to everywhere.
Yeah, the first one you were just it was big vertically. This one was big horizontally.
For sure. And yeah, like it's cool that you can definitely see the effort they put into the second version, I'm
Yeah.
going to call it. And it's really cool to see that because it's like with the other the other missions and like the new missions, it's showing that while there's still definitely problems with the game itself, it shows that the people, the developers, everybody who's involved in Red or not, still care about the game and are still trying to add stuff to it
Yeah,
and
they're
really try
progressing.
to make the people who play the games enjoy it. However, again, like make sure that the other missions are still there because we did really enjoy the first version.
Yeah.
And there's just so much content in the second version that we're used to having like little to no content, like actual content or story in these missions, because that's what it's been most of the time. For them to start adding it all now is like, all right, that's cool, but that's not what you were before, and we're kind of used to what you were before, so we kind of like having that option at least.
Yeah.
And especially when it does get dark, like story-wise.
I think it's very dark.
To get thrown into that when that's not what that mission was before, like it does have some civilians involved that were kidnapped, but it is totally different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not. It would definitely be nice to have the first version back.
It would be. Yeah, I don't know. That one's just. I appreciate the difficulty, but I don't like I said, a trend started that wasn't there when we first played this game of just like human trafficking and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, it adds to realism, but it also makes the game more straining or like mentally challenging to complete.
A way I'm trying to think to word it is starting to feel a little too real when it's supposed to just be a video game. Like I want to play a game, get on, shoot some people.
Yeah.
But now it's starting to make it feel like they're trying to make it like an actual simulator instead of just a game.
Yeah.
So yeah, while it's interesting and maybe cool, it's not what it used to be, and we kind of like how it used to be, honestly.
Yeah, with that, those are all the maps and our thoughts on them. So overall in the game, I hate it. I hate it now. I personally do. Like, well, because this used to be the game where it was just like kind of goofing off, having fun. You know, some people could take it very seriously. You didn't have to though, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it a lot. But I think one of my biggest complaints is that it seems like as they were trying to add stories, it seems like they really kind of tried to just make it grander than I liked it. Like one of my biggest complaints has been, I don't know if any of them made it into recording, but I know like Queen's heard of it, Billy's definitely heard it about 20 times, is that like they added stuff like the new HQ. The old HQ was very straightforward. There was a kill room, a room to practice detaining someone, a shooting range, and an armory. That was it. But now they have an entire precinct that you need to listen to. And, oh, sorry, my dog's growling in my ear. Not listen to, but you have to go through. And it seems like a whole bunch of stuff that's going to take up computer power and a bunch of other stuff unnecessarily.
I actually heard him bark.
Did you hear that one?
Yeah. I don't usually hear it, but I heard that one.
Yeah, he howled. So, like, there's like a room where they have a lineup and someone IDing. There's interrogation rooms. There's people just sitting in a break room around like coffee. Like, there's all this stuff that just adds on to the loading time. The, like, what's the word? Like, just how much, what is the word I'm looking for? It's not dependency, but like just how much it's like bogging down your system. Like all these extra movements and AIs and all this stuff that's being tracked, even though you're never going to look at it because you go straight from the front door to the briefing room, pick your mission, go to the locker next to it, and then pick your gun and go. Like, it's a whole bunch of extra that's not needed And in my opinion, or to me personally, it's not wanted. I don't want it to be like that. I don't like it like that. It adds a whole bunch of complication for complication's sake, in my opinion. And it's kind of killed the game for me.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good points on that. And I agree with most of it. Like, I still like the game in general.
Yeah.
But like you said, we played the game as a way to like de-stress, relax, just have a fun with friends that we can mess around on. And that's definitely not what it is anymore. Like,
it's not.
It definitely feels like they're trying to up the scale on it and make it something way bigger than it started as.
Yeah.
And, maybe what they're doing with it now is what they always intended, which is, good for them. But for Icarus and I would say we definitely both prefer how it was when it first started.
Yeah.
Like, again, going back to the HQ, like, it's big, it's cool, but it definitely feels like it's something that's more of like a demo of like, hey, check out what we as a company can do with a video game. Like, we can make this whole thing, but it feels so unnecessary because you don't actually do anything with those extra rooms or those extra areas. There's no point to them. It just looks cool. And in video games, stuff that looks cool but has no point, it is a wow factor. You're like, oh wow, okay, never think about it again. And all of that effort you put into it goes to waste because gamers will look at it for couple seconds, maybe a couple minutes, and never look at it again. And you have this huge precinct that nobody looks at because it's unnecessary. You go to the locker room and the briefing room, and that's all you really need. Maybe you go to the shooting range to test out a new weapon or new attachments on a weapon, but most people will go to the locker room and the briefing room, and that's all you really needed. So for sure, the original headquarters, or whatever you want to call it, it was definitely a lot more efficient and just better overall because it didn't have all that extra crap that, like Icarus said, bogged down your PC. It's just a waste. It really is.
Yeah, well, because, I mean, it's like you're saying, like, back in the day, we just played this with friends for fun. We would all jump on. It was such an easy running game that we could all live stream it. Nobody was lagging. Everyone was fine. It took us about 10 minutes to get into a mission. Recording this series, it took us an hour and a half to get to record a few missions. And that's just
the loading times got so bad.
Yeah, the loading time was bad, and then when you're first accessing the locker and trying to walk around, it's just lag. Once again, if you want to say, oh, that's because you have crappy internet and a crappy computer, fine, whatever. But the fact is that when the game first launched, none of that was an issue. But even this new headquarters and everything made it an issue.
Even putting that aside, we don't have that problem with other games. Our other games run perfect.
Yeah, especially recording.
Like this game, even without the recording, it just takes forever to get through stuff. And we can't run it on full quality like we can with other games, like Age of Empires 4. We would run that on perfect quality without mods, and it would work fantastic. We start adding mods where you have higher population than the game normally allows, and that's when it starts to slow down. This game, you have lower settings, like visual settings, and all we're doing is recording, and it slows down, it glitches, lags, the loading time takes forever, and everything gets slow. And with a game like this, where all you can do is play with friends or play with other people online, but it's like 4 people max. And all you do is fight against AI. You need your game to work properly for people to want to play the game because there's nothing else to do and there's no other reason to play the game except specifically to go through a mission shooting AI, and that's it. Like, this is a simple game when you get down to the basics of it.
Yeah.
So for your game to not work properly, you can't, like, people, like, my setup is not bad. I have a 3060 GPU, and my CPU isn't bad either. When I bought everything, they were like high end, like one of the newest stuff you can get. So I definitely don't have a bad computer, and I still can't play at the highest quality while recording. So at that point, it's your game. It's not my computer. It's not my internet. It's your game. And when all it is you with 3 other people shooting at NPCs, there's something wrong, because that's all you have going for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's like Age of Empires, like, yeah, I started to lag recording that. What do? I turned on my shadow quality. Every game, the first thing to go is shadow quality because it's the easiest thing to get rid of and it doesn't affect the game. This game is one of the first ones where I had to turn down texture quality in order to get a smooth recording. Like, that's not even like what we had, or it's not that we had to turn something down because that happens. It's what do we have to turn down? Because there's a huge difference. Like, if I'm turning down shadow quality and the quality of the grass beneath my feet, I don't care too much. It doesn't bother me. But when I have to turn down every single thing and then minimize a lot of things, and then the game still takes 20 minutes to load. I mean, yeah, you could say it's my computer. I say it's all the useless NPCs walking around doing a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, like you said, it's like a 1 or 2 minute enjoyment for like a lifetime of lag. It doesn't feel worth it in the end anymore.
Okay, real quick, let's just say this game came out in 2019.
Yeah.
So at that time, I'll be fair and say adding in like extra NPCs still wasn't super great at the time. Like, I don't know, code wise or whatever you want to call it. Like, there's a lot of good stuff right now in 2024, but at 2019, sure, you add an NPC, it added a lot of extra information and coding and stuff. So, but other games were still able to do it in 2019 and not have this much problems going on with their game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You know, I'm not a developer. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. I can only see, or I can only talk about what I can observe. And to me, it's like NPC. Like, I don't need a lineup with 7 dudes shifting around while another dude stands there talking to a cop. Like, that's what I can observe. I don't know exactly if that's what's causing the issue, but to me it is. So, yeah. It's real to me.
Regardless, whatever the problem is, there's a problem that needs to be fixed. And instead of fixing it, it's almost like they're making it worse.
Yeah.
And I get, like, it is pretty obvious that they're trying to up the scale of the game, which is awesome. But at some point, I'll mention that this is usually, probably at least, why development companies, instead of adding content to an old game, they just make a new game because they want the new software, they want the new coding, whatever, like the new stuff that makes games run better. So at some point, you gotta give up on Ready or Not and make Ready or Not 2 or something, so that the stuff that you're using to make your game runs more efficiently and allows you to do the things on the scale that you want to do.
Yeah.
So that your game runs properly so people want to play it.
Yeah. I don't know. it's such a love-hate thing. Like,
Yeah,
anyways, it's been 2 hours, guys. We've talked about this game for 2 hours.
yeah.
um,
And I'm ready to stop talking about it.
yeah. So yeah, I do genuinely hope you guys enjoyed this series. I know I have one of the maps cut out. You know, it's whatever. It's my choice. But yeah, so we're gonna have more series in the future. Phasmo's kind of starting to come to a close. I think we got like 5, 6 maps left on that. Um,
Yeah,
we're
gotta get back
talking
on
about
that.
new series, like we're thinking about Generation Zero. We're talking about other games. Age of Empire, or no, Age of Mythology comes out at the end of this month, so in like 7, 8
True.
days. So we'll probably have a few mess arounds on that if they actually like remaster the whole campaign, because I don't remember if that game originally had one. You know, maybe we'll do something on that. You know, like we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. You have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'll say a couple more things. Like at the end, we were harping on the game a lot, but I genuinely did enjoy the game, and we had a lot of fun playing, even with the problems.
Yeah.
And even though there are problems with this game, there are problems with every game
Oh
in
yeah.
some way, or it doesn't mean that we don't recognize, the efforts of those who made the game, or the fact that the game isn't fun. It is fun. And maybe in the future we'll come back to it at some point, but probably not for a while, if ever.
Oh yeah.
Just because I don't know. Maybe we'll come back to it just on our own without recording and just play it like we used to. Maybe we'll go to an earlier version that works or runs better, because that's an option. But yeah, like we had fun. We did. So don't want anyone thinking that we hated the entire series, because we played all 18 missions, so we had to have enjoyed it at least a little bit.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's not like I'm done with the game forever, uninstall. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's like you're saying, it's just kind of the changes just aren't feeling good. And we did the series by the time, like, I think also when we said we're going to do the series and we started it, I don't think we really thought about how we're going to feel at the end of it. Because, like, no matter what the series is, it could be your favorite game on earth. Once you dedicate to making it a series that you're editing and you're looking at, and it's more of a chore or dedication than
It's
actual
work.
enjoyment. Yeah. It
Yeah,
changes how
it's
you
not
feel
a
about the
game. It's not a
game.
hobby. It's work.
Yeah. So we definitely don't hate the game, and we're not done with the game. It's just that we're at the end of it. We're at the end of the long time of, editing hours, especially since Billy actually got through all of Valley of the Dolls, so he did hours of blurring and editing that I didn't even have to do, and I'm fed up with it. So
And still
there's
not
always a
done.
burnout. There's always going to be a burnout of that game because you feel like you have to get it done and get it done now.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so yeah, we definitely do like the game, but like
We're done with the series for
there's,
sure.
I feel like there's always going to be more critiques and stuff we love. I don't think I'm ever going to find a game that I'm going to point at and be like, everything's perfect. Like, that's not going to happen. I'm always going to have something that I'm like, I wish they adjusted that.
Yeah.
Like,
Then
it's
you can
always
also
going to
go
happen.
and say, there was a lot more to critique in this than maybe other games, which means that we enjoyed those games more than this game, which is
Yeah.
true. But even then, we did still enjoy this game.
Yeah.
Like it's still fun. We just gotta find ways to make it more entertaining for ourselves, like picking certain maps, picking certain ways to interact with the map, like the weapons we choose, stuff like that. If we go in guns blazing, if we go in stealth, like there's different ways to go about it. And
Yeah.
it just depends. Like there's definitely things that need to be changed in the game, I think. But there's also ways that we can interact with the game that'll make it more entertaining for ourselves, despite
yeah.
whatever may be right or wrong with the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's community mods now. We could have definitely gone all out with some stuff, but we wanted to just do the base missions and try and beat them. But we want to have fun.
Maybe we would have gotten into the mods, but 18 missions were done.
Yeah.
We may make one more where we try to arrest everybody and not kill anybody.
Oh
but
yeah, I forgot we talked about that.
that might be a bonus mission for later on. Who knows?
It would be part of, we don't know what we're calling the series yet. I'm currently calling it the Mess Around series. It would be an episode of that. It won't be an episode of the Ready or Not playthrough.
Yeah, we'll get to it eventually, I'm sure.
But yeah,
but this series is finished now.
it's over. There's always a weird like finality feeling to me on stuff like this. Like I get the same feeling when it's the boat scene at the end of, I think, Return of the King. Yeah, Return of the King, when they're like getting on the boats to sail away and you get like that hole in your chest. Like,
oh no.
Or like the final, or like when they're standing on the bridge in Harry Potter at the very end of the 8th movie, like stuff like that. It always gives like this weird finality feeling in my chest. So even on a series like this, like, yeah, I get that feeling. So if somehow you're getting that same feeling, if you like binge watched every episode of this in one day, first off, you're insane. I love you. Second off, if you're getting that finality feeling at the end of this 2 hours of us recapping, I feel you. I understand where you're coming from. But yeah, I'm looking forward to our next series. We're talking about some stuff. I do kind of like the Generation Zero idea. We just got to figure out how we're going to separate episodes. Is it going to be like an episode of going to and clearing a bunker? Like, there's stuff like that.
Completing objectives, or is it going to be time-based?
Yeah, because there are a lot of, you can find a lot of recordings and notes and stuff in that game that add a lot of lore to it, which I really like. So, yeah. So we're definitely not done with everything, but I think this is the first series that we decided, with both of us doing YouTube a little more diligently. This is kind of the first one that we started that we're going to do together. We're going to make the series together, and now it's at an end. So
yeah,
it's a weird finale.
First official series in our like combined series that we're doing.
Yep.
So it's pretty awesome. I'll have to see what the next series is going to be.
Yep. Yeah. You guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys in the next one, whichever it is, wherever it is.
Yep. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.
Yep. Bye.